everybody, and welcome back to the Super Anime Bros podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rosario, joined by my brother, Angelo, and today we're going to talk about something we love.
So we are back counting down our favorite anime. Today we are on number 15 and number 11. We are back from we're back from our vacation, ready to keep rolling with this list here.
Yes, sir. Well, the way I released the episodes, the break will have been on the last episode, but
okay. Well, we're back from our vacation at the time of filming.
Yeah. No, it was nice. It was good to get away for a little bit.
For sure.
But
we
good
kept
to be
up
back.
with all our shows.
For sure,
it
was electric. Yeah, so we went on a cruise. It was the second cruise we went on. First one did not have any computer, any anime, so to speak, other than on our phones. This time we had the forethought to bring a computer and HDMI cord, hook that thing up, and we were right as rain. It was awesome.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
I would agree.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to get back to our list here. I think it's my turn to go first.
I believe it is as well, yeah.
And then another disclaimer. There are some shows here that are on both of our lists.
For sure.
So we'll just talk about them together.
Yeah, something that we've talked about before, some things that we're going to talk about at the same time.
Speaking of, my number 15 is Rent-A-Girlfriend.
Wow, have I talked about that one?
If you listen to last episode, you know how we feel about it already.
For sure.
But it's, like I said, one of those shows that I feel like gets a little too much hate than it deserves.
Yeah.
It's pretty enjoyable. It might be a little long and not a ton of progression, but it's fine to have one of those shows where it's just easy to watch and you're gonna have fun along the way. So nothing wrong with that.
For sure.
But yeah, I don't know. If you want to hear any more thoughts, watch the last episode.
Thanks.
Or listen to the last episode.
Yeah. Shout out the deep dive. All right. So my 15 is called Bokuben, We Never Learn. So it follows a student, Naruyuki Yuiga, as he is forced to tutor 2 and then later 3 girls in order to get a recommendation or a scholarship, I'm not even sure which one, to the college he wants to go to. A setup we've heard before and we will hear again. Mm-hmm. Certainly. But I think the tutor 2D harem style, I mean, I wouldn't call it a harem. He doesn't they don't all end up together, but who will he choose kind of story is really interesting. Something about the people that he is tutoring, they're both geniuses. It's like a whole thing in the show. However, they're geniuses in the opposite field as though they want to go into, which is all explained later on. I think that the show's got a pretty good amount of backstory, and certainly the manga more than the show. I'll touch on the manga for sure here. But yeah, they're both geniuses in the opposite fields as they want to go into. Naruyuki's a very, very good student, not considered a genius, but he certainly can work some magic.
He's well-rounded.
Yes.
I think that's kind of his
for sure.
his thing.
For sure. A VIP nomination is what it's called.
Oh.
So,
This says it's a scholarship.
It's the real deal. Yeah, but like I said, 2 becomes 3 people he's tutoring. They throw in another girl that he meets at his night school.
Cram school.
Cram school, yeah. And then even kind of one of the teachers. It's a whole thing. So it ends up being 5 different people. Oh my God, who's he going to end up with? The anime is a bit ambiguous with the ending.
Yes.
A bit.
100%.
Okay, well, I think it's kind of
It's not.
It's hinted at for sure in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's not implied.
It's implied. I think.
It's not.
I do think it is. I would disagree completely.
All right. Disagree all you want,
but nothing is explicit. I think it is implicit. But I overall I think this is a really funny and cute romance. Certainly a good mix of those things. As we go down the list, I think I've said this before, but as we get closer to the top, all of these anime balance multiple genres well. I don't think any of them are too single dimensional, and that obviously makes them a little bit more appealing, in my opinion. So kind of to touch on the manga a little bit here. Well, I guess let me talk about the girls real quick, just to further explain the show. So there's Ogata, who's really, really smart when it comes to like science and math, but wants to study literature. However, she like fails to understand human emotion at all. So there's a lot of her learning that, some through romance with our protagonist. There's Furuashi, who is super smart when it comes to literature, but wants to study science, wants to study the stars, has something to do with her mother who had passed away in her dream. So that is what drives her there. And then there's Takamoto, who was Naruyuki's childhood friend, who's really, really sporty, is definitely going to do swimming in school, but is not all that bright at all anywhere.
Not at all.
So, those are his three students. And then, what's fourth girl's name? Jeez. Do you remember?
Not at all.
That's a shame. That's really a shame. I can picture in my head.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the good news is the internet's right here. Then there's also his teacher, who he always ends up at her apartment cleaning and then also studying, which I think is pretty funny. I'm not even going to look up her name.
Yeah, it's not that important.
No.
Right this minute.
Certainly not. So the other girl he meets at cram school wants to be a doctor, not doing the greatest job, but her dad's a doctor and it's her dream to keep his small clinic alive. So there's that. So that's our main cast. I think kind of throughout, Takamoto seems to be in the lead, especially since she's the only one who, from the start, realizes her feelings for him.
Right.
And she was thus my favorite, I think, for most of it. By the end, maybe it was Furuashi, just given some of the things that happen along the way. But like I said a couple times here, I want to talk about the manga. Not only like I read this, and there's a ton of manga, like there's almost a volume per episode, so there's a ton of stuff that's not covered in the anime. So that's all really, really fun and exciting. And then I mean, it does a crazy thing at the end where it has 5 different routes for each of the 5.
Well, 1 for each.
5 different routes for each.
We said 5 for each. It's 1 for each of the 5.
There's 5 different
potential
routes.
love
Yes,
interests.
1 for each of the potential love interests, which I think is incredible.
That would be 25 endings. That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. So yeah, I think that's really, really cool. So if you have a specific favorite throughout the story, which I mean everyone's gonna pick a favorite, there's an ending for them. So I thought that was really, really cool. Not any other show I've ever seen or manga has done that.
No.
So I really enjoyed that.
I wish they all would.
They should. I don't know.
That way everybody could.
Yeah, everybody.
Well, I
could
guess
be
it's
happy.
you can't really.
But yeah, I mean this is very similar to a show that we all talk about way later. Not quite as good, but still like I just, as far as a romance goes and who are they going to pick kind of show, this really checked a lot of boxes for me and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean I think you definitely get a lot more value reading the manga.
For sure.
Just because you said how much they skipped and without really giving a solid ending. I don't know when I talked about it. It was a while ago.
I don't remember,
It was very enjoyable. I also they had this little fire dude mascot that would randomly show up in every episode, and it was like a little Easter egg in every episode. I'd be like, dude, well, there he is.
That was fun to find, yeah.
So that's unique. I'd never seen that in a show before.
For sure.
It always gets me to look at the background, see what's going on, just so I could find the little dude.
For sure.
But all right, yeah, I think that's all I had to say about it. It's pretty good.
Fun.
Pretty good. Moving on here to my number 14 is Black Clover.
Oh, baby.
Now, this may or may not be on your list,
Oh.
so feel free to fill in or talk about it too.
Yeah, so I think we can tag team this one.
Okay.
This is my number 13.
Spoilers.
Wow.
But yet, Black Clover is a show about a young man, well, I guess 2.
Young man.
2 young men who are both abandoned at a church, and they're raised by the priest there.
Orphans.
And then, yeah. Or is it an orphanage? It's a church.
I mean, they're orphans.
Yeah,
There's
he's raised with a
multiple
bunch of
orphans.
other orphans. And he wants to become a magic knight, but there's one problem is he doesn't have any magic power.
No, he does not. Our boy Asta. Yeah, I mean, it's a similar setup to, I think, a lot of shonen shows.
Yeah, I realize a lot are like that. It's like, hey, this guy does this, but he can't It's kind of like
Yeah.
when I watch Mashal, it's very similar.
Yeah, or even My Hero Academia.
Yeah, very
It's the
similar.
first thing that comes to my head.
And then his rival, who was also raised at the orphanage, has like all the magic power.
incredible
He was
show.
chosen by like the 4-leaf clover, which is like favored by the gods, and he has all this like latent ability, and Asta does not. But he is very hardworking, and when he does finally get his power, he receives a sword. That can cancel out
a book with a sword.
a book with a sword in it. Yeah, the book isn't the cool part. The sword is.
That's true.
Yeah, he gets a book with the sword.
Well, the book's a 5-leaf clover, which I think
It's
is really
important. It is important, but he gets the sword and it can cancel out anybody's magical abilities.
cool. Yeah.
So it kind of brings everybody down to his level.
Anti-magic.
It's pretty cool.
I agree. I do. I think that is an awesome idea for, how are we going to give power to this powerless protagonist? Okay, we're going to give him the antithesis of the power in the universe. I think it's super cool. Plus, swords are cool. Yeah, and I think the 5-leaf clover is cool. It's very ominous. Like when he first, I think, pulls the sword, or even when he first attacks, maybe there's like imagery of like a devil or something, a demon. Like there's clearly something dark behind this power. So it was really, really cool. I see you have this written down as well, so we can. I'll say it, but we can both talk about it.
That's fine.
This show has like the best openings ever.
Yeah, I think consistently, it probably has the best.
It doesn't miss. I think it's got 2 of my top 5 favorite anime openings of all time.
Yeah, it's got a lot in my favorites. So
Yeah, it's incredible.
it doesn't miss.
Yeah, every single one's so good.
They are all so good.
Yeah, there's certainly just a few. I can't.
Yeah,
It's so
and
good.
for
So,
us,
so good.
I think openings are like the opening theme songs are definitely something that makes a show for us. It makes it better. It makes me want to watch it. There's plenty of shows I've watched just because of the opening.
I'm going to agree with that.
I've done that
Something
multiple times
We'll talk
now.
about way later. Way later, I watched just because of the opening.
Really?
Yeah, we'll get there.
What?
We'll get there.
I don't even know.
Big surprise, I guess. I don't know.
But yeah, the openings in that are absolutely fire. So that brings the show to a whole nother level.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is something we actually haven't finished watching yet. We've been watching it for, I don't know, over a year now.
A long time, yeah.
A while. We usually would watch it when we'd have the day off together.
Yeah.
And get Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And watch
times.
it for a while.
Good
Yeah,
times.
definitely a lot of good memories to go along with Black
For
Clover.
sure.
But it is a good show, and it's one that I was honestly surprised I would enjoy because I definitely don't really love wizards and magic power. Is not my favorite type.
It's not wizards, though.
Yeah, they don't dress like wizards, but they all have magic powers. But I do enjoy it, and I've come to like those types of shows now because they all do have very pretty cool, unique powers and different abilities.
It's not.
It's basically the same, as just any other show where
just
everybody
the
has
vehicle
unique
through
powers.
which-
Exactly. That's funny.
It was good.
But yeah, I don't know what else you have to add.
Yeah, I think this show really shows the power of never giving up. That's Asta's whole thing.
Yeah.
His whole catchphrase is "I'll never give up."
Is it? Isn't Believe It?
Stop.
I'm kidding. That's Naruto.
I know. Yeah, which I think. Not that it's an incredibly deep message, but I think it's a very strong one. And also, I see that you have this written down. I do as well. Really, really fun cast of characters. They're all the Magic Knights, like you said earlier, are broken into squads. Each squad's got a bunch of people, and obviously we spend more time with our main character squads than any other ones. But yeah, there's just so many awesome characters with cool powers. Some bad, some good.
Yeah, and Asta's squad is the band of misfits.
Yes.
So they are
For sure.
very unique characters.
Yeah,
most of them are very
Quite
eccentric.
the ornery group. Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely makes it more enjoyable. And the captain of Asta's squad, the Black Bulls, is Yami, and he is so cool.
He is.
What
pretty
is his
awesome.
magic called? Is it dark magic?
It's dark magic. Yeah.
Yeah, and he uses a samurai sword and can uses black holes kind of.
Yeah. So we'll definitely find out more about him.
Yeah, I'm excited to
think-
see more.
I don't know that necessarily we'll find out, but I think manga-wise, past where the anime. So the anime's been, I don't know, it hasn't been out for years,
while.
maybe 2020, if I had to guess. And there's a ton more manga after. God knows if it'll ever be adapted. But I think we get
I
a lot
don't know.
more
I feel like
Yanni.
Black Clover is popular enough that it'll happen.
It's
just might
been
take a
years.
while.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess Dragon Ball Super hasn't even come back, so who knows?
Yeah, it's been years. So who's to say?
I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I have all the manga.
And we still have quite a bit left to watch anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
How many episodes are there? There's
like 170, 180.
Yeah, we are a little over 100, so we still have plenty to watch. And I think they made a movie not too long ago.
They did make a movie.
So, I don't know. There's plenty more for us to enjoy.
Without
and
a doubt.
hopefully there becomes more anime. If not, eventually I'll just have to read in the manga once we catch up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I have it all on paper. Last couple things I've written down here: cool powers, fun fights. We touched on it. Really, really cool powers. I mean, it's definitely a challenge for these writers to come up with creative and new things. Like, every single one of these shows is trying to have a million different powers, and it's, I'm sure, incredibly difficult to make them unique. So I do think this show does a pretty good job of doing that. Though, like, the first one that comes to my head is the one captain that's really young and uses like painting that comes to life as his magic. Like, that's such a cool idea.
Oh, I was thinking of Dorothy is when I was thinking of
There you go,
powers.
exactly.
Because what does she do? Like
She, like, takes you
transport
to the
people into
dream
like
world,
a dream?
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Or even like Vanessa and her little cat with like threads of fate, like very, very cool stuff.
That's a big plot point.
For sure.
At the time it is. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So I love that. And then I do think the show has a pretty good amount of like twists and turns along the way to keep you interested. Some things revealed way later on that are earth-shattering, which is pretty awesome. Some things that are yet to be revealed that are pretty earth-shattering. Unfortunately, my earth is already shattered, but we'll get there. Black Clover I think is really, really a solid show.
I agree.
I'm happy.
Hence why it's this far on our list here.
For sure, yeah. I'm happy we gave it a chance. Again, I think, did we start it and then not go back to it or what? I definitely watched a lot with my friends at school.
Now, we watched it in the beginning as an exchange.
Okay.
It was a you show, and then eventually
I don't remember that at all.
I enjoyed it enough, so it became an us show.
Heck yeah. Electric. That's always the goal of the exchange.
Yeah, I feel like you never do that, though. Even when it's like a show we both really like. You're like, no.
Initially.
What about it?
I did that.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
You still make me watch
Not,
it. Okay.
that's actually
That's fine.
True. I think that's a perfect example. Good thing, So anyway, that was your 14.
Yes.
My 13. So we talk about my 14 here. It is Horimiya. So this is going to be a romance show about a girl named Kyoko Hori and a guy named Izumi Miyamura. They put their two names together, and that's how you got the title of the show.
What?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's right. This was one of the. I feel like it was one of the first romances I watched. It was pretty early on. Like, I was definitely still in school.
Yeah, and I said, watch this.
Yes. And it turned out to be pretty good. Good job.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Sorry, my throat. Anyway, I think this show is really, really cool. A big part of what they're going for and trying to say is like showing our hidden selves to another person. Really opening them up to all of your world, even the boring, monotonous details of your home life, like just showing a side that you don't show to everybody else. That's made evident right away. Like, these are two characters that would not otherwise, I think, be entwined in each other's lives. But a chance meeting brings them together, and the rest is kind of history. And that they just start to spend more and more time together. This is not a slow burn romance, which I think is awesome. For everyone, where we're talking about like Rent a Girlfriend that's 340 chapters in and we still don't know what's going to happen. Like, this takes a few episodes. And
spoilers.
This whole thing's spoilers. And then, you really get to see the second half of the show with the main couple already together, and that's really, really cool. I think that there's a lot of good characters in this. We're certainly given more development through the missing pieces. So this was I think 14 or 15 volume manga, and the season of the show, which was originally the only season of the show, is like 13 episodes. So obviously, like I just talked about with We Never Learn, there's just so much that they did not cover. But this show actually went back, and I'm sure it was just because of popularity, went back and made a second season called The Missing Pieces that adapted a lot of things that were not originally. So it's a little bit segmented. It's not a cohesive story, but having had the first season already, you understand everything. And it was really cool to have them go back and add all of that. It added a lot more depth. The stakes weren't incredibly high or anything, so it was just kind of a fun watch. It's characters that you've grown to like, and just getting to see more of them interact with each other. It was really, really cool. So I'm very happy that they went back and did that. But yeah, I just, this is a really special one to me. Like, it's sometimes as simple as them just like hanging out after school at Hori's house, like studying. And I feel like it's just a lot of the simple everyday life things that I don't think many stories take the time to slow down and show us. And this does a lot of that, which I really, really like. And it's got a good mix of, the characters doing other things. But particularly that is just really, really calming. And it's cool to see a normal relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I like the show a lot too. You might hear about it later, you might not. Who knows?
Who's to say?
But
yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of my perspective on things, and as we just kind of touched on there, you might hear about it again.
Maybe.
So I think that's where I'll leave it. But highly, highly recommend the show. Like, even if you've not watched a lot of romance before, I think this is a really great place to start, and it's a pretty cool
it's
watch.
one of like my go-to starter romance recommendations.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, so moving on to my number 13.
All right,
it is Initial D.
Wow.
And I have one note here, and it's Eurobeat.
That's great. So once again, like we just did with Black Clover, we're going to touch on this together. Initial D is my number 12. So
we were one off for having
it was very
two
close.
Shows at the same spots.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome, man.
It would have been. But, we'll touch on them together all the same. So if you want to go ahead and get us rolling.
Yeah, so Initial D is it's a racing show.
Yeah.
A street racing show, specifically.
Oh, yeah.
About a young man, Takumi.
Young man.
Who can't stop winning.
That's
now, he, at the beginning of the show, has absolutely zero interest in racing and driving. He just drives every night for his dad, because his dad, who owns a tofu shop, makes him go out every night through the mountain pass and deliver the tofu.
Yeah.
Which his dad is a genius and an absolute great race car driver, and that's his way of training his son without him even knowing it.
Boy, did he do a good job with it, too.
So, how does he even get into the first race?
I don't
know. No, yeah, because some rival racing group is challenges the local racing group, which happens to be some of Takumi's best friends, to a race, and then their best driver, Ikatani, gets injured and begs Takumi's dad to race for him so they don't get embarrassed by this other group. And then eventually Takumi ends up being the one who races and whoops Keisuke's butt.
Yeah, well, I think it's that Keisuke was driving down the pass.
And then gets passed by Takumi while he's just trying to win.
8-6.
Yeah, and then they find out because it has a big Fujiwara tofu shop sticker on the side.
Yeah, it sure does.
And so we do find out that the one who passed Keisuke was Takumi.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other races happen. Some that he wants to do, some that he don't. But he really takes an interest in racing, and as the show progresses, he finally joins his own racing team and keeps winning.
Yeah, cares about it more and more.
Yeah.
I have written down Cars, cool. Eurobeat, cool. Together, super cool.
Yeah, Eurobeat is like I don't know how to describe it. It's great. It's like the crazy music in the background.
Yeah, like electronic
like
music.
running in the 90s. Deja Vu.
Yeah.
Kind of meme songs, but they are so good.
Well, some of them are meme songs.
Deja Vu. running in the 90s.
Yeah, the music's just so it really just pumps you up and
It
gets you going.
elevates the show so much.
Yeah, this was the show you got me to watch, and I think like I wish I had my whole list in front of me. This is one of the highest, not the highest thinking, but one of the highest things that you've showed me.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised at first that you
love this
enjoyed
show
it
so
so
much.
much. I remember us watching like a couple episodes where like the build-up's happening
Yeah.
before their first race, and I'm like, and you're like, oh, I really like this. I'm like, awesome, yeah, because it's just them goofing off.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great show.
Yeah, with a lovable cast of characters.
Yeah, really solid
Who
group of characters.
Really know how to fumble any kind of relationship.
That's certainly true. I mean, they're lonely drivers. And,
Drivers don't need girlfriends.
So they say.
They say that a lot. I
So
think
they
they say it as a coping mechanism, but
copium.
there's
for
a
sure.
couple, points where the guys are just like worse than like the most dense rom-com pro tags.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating to be honest.
It is.
Other characters, I think Keisuke is my favorite. We touched on him briefly there. Younger brother and the dynamic brother group
the Takahashi
that
brothers.
run the racing in the region. They're both super good racers, and I don't know. I think Keisuke is kind of an asshole at first, and then and then
Yeah, dude. I don't think we ever cussed on the show yet. I realized last
that's
episode.
barely a bad word.
Last episode or the last countdown when I said friggin' like 8
Whoa.
times.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Chill
it's
out with that.
stupid. It's not crazy. It's just dumb.
It is dumb, yeah. Anyway, like I think he's got cool progression as he mellows out a little bit.
Yeah, and eventually him
His
and
car's super
Takumi,
sick and like
him and
he's
Takumi do
sick.
team up,
Yeah.
form a racing group with
Yeah.
his big brother Ryosuke as kind of their mentor,
Yeah.
and he really teaches them so much,
Mhm.
especially like Takumi learning like about his car and
Yeah.
so much about like the art of racing rather than just what
For
he
sure.
used to do. But yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah, so many awesome characters that you really are gonna like. A lot of cool cars.
So
It got
many
me
cool
into
cars.
Japanese cars, which is
Yeah,
pretty
the clothes
awesome.
are sick.
Especially like the 8.6 that Takumi drives or the
Yeah.
RX-7s that the Takahashi brothers drive. It's
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
love Keisuke's car or the GTRs.
Yeah, the GTRs.
Yeah, the show kind of takes like a monster of the week formula. It's like who's gonna race next, introduce them, backstory, race, they lose, on to the next. So I have written here, posed as a question, too much winning? Question mark.
It's too much winning.
So like, full spoiler warning. We're not finished the show yet. I'm watching it with Ange.
Well, the show, I don't know
We're pretty far into
where
it.
the anime even leaves off in regards to
Very,
the manga.
very true. So
Because they cut out a lot.
we're 4 seasons in. 5, 4?
4.
4.
Well, third season's a movie, yeah.
Takumi's lost one time.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool.
It was great.
But that's the point.
It's some
He's
of my
just
favorites.
that good.
I
When have
guess.
you seen,
I guess.
how many times do you see Keisuke lose a race?
Well, I never. Keisuke's God. Like he's not gonna lose.
You only see him lose one race in the
What?
whole show.
Yeah, but you see Takumi race a ton more.
Yeah, well, he's the main character. I don't know.
No, I get that. It's not a bad thing, and it doesn't really
The
bother
first
me.
time when he loses that race, I cried.
Yeah, I mean that 2 episodes there is some of my favorite.
It's rough.
It's my
It's
favorite
awesome,
song in the
but
show. My favorite angry Taka. Like I just love it.
He blows up his engine.
I get that, Angelo. It's very emotional.
It's
stuff.
so sad.
I
Yeah, when
didn't cry,
you
but
see
it
him
was
get out of the
pretty-
car, he has a tear in his
was all
eye. I'm like,
pretty
oh, me
electric.
too, buddy.
Yeah, it was emotionally hard hitting, whereas a lot of the show is just cool.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to see some of those moments in there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love the show. Love the show. I mean, we both have Initial D stickers on our cars. The mouse pad that I use for my computer every day is Initial D. I have an Initial D throw blanket. Like,
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's,
For sure.
it's definitely a
for
awesome
sure.
show for us. I can't wait for us to.
Makes you want to street race, which don't street race. But
I
you know.
can't wait to watch you finish the
Yeah.
4th season.
Yeah.
I also was thinking about that. They have deer in Japan.
Yeah.
Racing around the mountains at night
It's
seems
pretty
like
dangerous.
I don't know how.
Maybe the deer are like.
Maybe it's in
different.
the manga, man, but in the anime, I'm gonna spoil this for you. I haven't seen a deer yet,
Yeah, I don't.
and I finished every season.
Maybe
except
the
for
deer
last
don't live
one.
in the mountain passes. I don't
But that's
know.
where the deers live in the
I'm-
woods.
I don't. Well, not
The
maybe not
deer.
in Japan.
I don't know. That was something I think about a lot in the show.
Yeah, probably too much.
As somebody who used to drive around a lot at night for
Yeah.
like work when I was working overnights. I didn't see a lot of deer,
Driving
but
at
even
night
so.
sucks.
I mean, it has its moments. But, yeah. Is there anything else you want to add about Initial D?
I think we hit it all, brother.
So, I guess I'm going again because we did your 14 already.
You're about to go twice.
We did your 13.
Yeah, you're going to go twice.
We did your 12. So, I'm going to finish my last two here, man. But my number 12 is Anohana. And this you did talk about
I completely forgot.
Last Countdown Ep, this is a show about the group of high schoolers who carry around guilt from a tragedy that happened when they were, what was it, like 10 years ago at that point? I don't know. It's late. So when they were very young, one of their good friends passed away, and they all carry the guilt of her death because they all make excuses and reasons why it's their fault, and they all just wish they could have stopped it. And the main character, Jinta, is haunted by the ghost of her. I wouldn't say haunted. She kind of just hangs around.
Yeah.
And,
I still think any visit by a ghost is a haunt.
Yeah, I guess. It's like a friendly haunt. She really just spends all her time with him, and he wants to figure out how to... What the heck are you looking at?
I'm looking up the definition of haunt.
That was creepy, dude. That was a jump scare. And he's trying to help her get to heaven so she can kind of enjoy the afterlife. And that's really what the show's about. Now, I did say it's a roller coaster, which I think you touched on. There is some good moments. It's not all completely doom and gloom. There's a lot of...
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a negative haunt.
Okay, so a haunt can be positive. The more you know. There's some enjoyable characters who are kind of light in the mood, like Popo.
Yeah, for sure.
Comes to mind. He really carries the show for me. He's my favorite. And eventually we do find out that
I'm going to feed our fish. Keep going.
Okay. He was carrying just as much guilt as the others, which you never would have thought based on his like happy-go-lucky personality. So all of these characters do really have so much depth in this show. And this one's only like 11 eps, and for a show to really have that much impact on me in such a short time, it's really crazy.
It's only 11 episodes?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I remember when we were on the cruise, we were watching like some quiz videos, and it was like random shots from a show, and they showed like a second of one of the scenes in that show, and I started crying.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Yeah, that show is just so powerful for me. It definitely means a lot, but it's not like a show that I go and rewatch a ton. I think of the times I watch it once by myself, once with you, and then once with our parents. I've never like rewatched it by myself.
Yeah, I get you.
It's kind of hard to do that, but I would recommend it just based on how good it is and how powerful it is of a story. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about it. It's really, really good, but it's not super easy all the time to watch, so... Oh, yeah, I guess I keep going.
Run it back.
Like, pause, and you haven't started talking about your number 12.
My number 12
You already know your
Initial
number
D.
12. It was Initial D. So my number 11 is Jujutsu Kaisen. And actually, when we were making this, we were starting to do the list, this one moved up a couple spaces. It might have been like 16 before.
Wow.
I don't think I re-ranked it since the second season. And I also definitely, now that I'm caught up with the manga, that has some influence.
Doesn't it, though? I've been doing that the whole time.
It's the whole story. It's kind of like hard to not include it.
Without a doubt, yeah.
But yeah, JJK's great. It has... at first, it's kind of a blend. Like, the first season, there was a lot of, like, moments that made me laugh. Mm-hmm. So I was, like, really into it at that point. I'm like, man, this is funny. But it also has so many dark moments, like, and gory moments. I'm like, wow, I'm laughing at a show that's like this.
Yeah.
But it's really enjoyable nonetheless. And then once we get to the second season, it just kind of shifts tone completely. I don't really remember laughing more than like twice. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about that today when I was just thinking about recording. I think the only time I laughed in the second season is the one fight with Toto.
Yeah.
He like drops
I'm sure you laughed at some point.
his pennant, and it's like Yuji's face.
That's the greatest thing.
The idol he loves.
I'm sure you laughed at the some point in the first arc.
Yeah, the first arc of the second season is great because it's like a flashback with like the main villain or one of the main villains and one of the main guys when they're back in high school, and it's really good. But yeah, I think this show's great. Yuji is a good character. I don't know if he's a great main character. Mm-hmm. I think he's awesome, but in a vacuum. Like all these other side characters, not like a...
I understand.
Yeah. But a lot of the side characters are just cooler. They have cooler powers.
Yeah.
They have cooler personalities.
Yeah.
Like Gojo. I feel like more people like you grab a random person who's never seen the show, they're more likely to know Gojo
For sure.
than Yuji. Which Gojo is the best.
True.
When we get to see him in high school with Gato, who's like the main villain, it's really awesome to see them interact. And Gato is one of my favorite characters, so it's always cool when a show can make you like a villain.
Yeah.
What?
It's just, it's nuanced, that character.
What do you mean it's nuanced?
We could talk about it off script.
Okay.
Keep going.
I don't know. I think it's cool when a show can do that, but yeah, it's just he's not that cool compared to some of the other people.
Yeah, I don't really like Yuji very much.
Toto's cooler. Yuta is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Well, you'll talk about him maybe someday.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it's a great show. It has great fights, animated very well. Has really good opening songs,
Yeah,
which we've talked about before. This one's got actually, two that are probably in my top 10. So I definitely really enjoy that aspect of the show.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I don't know what else I have to say about it. I mean, obviously, I'd love to talk more like plot-heavy stuff, but I don't want to spoil too much, especially with at this time there only being 2 seasons out right now.
Yeah, there's
and a movie.
Certainly a lot to come.
Yeah, so be excited for the more to come.
Get excited.
It's pretty. Yeah, there you go. A lot of really good fights coming up. I don't think that's spoiling too much.
No, I don't think so.
Some cool character development, even some new characters that are pretty cool to see, and some stuff that I thought that they forgot about and they didn't. If you know what I'm talking about. I'll talk about it off script.
I'm thinking about it in a different show, but yeah.
No, I'm not talking about
that.
here. I'm talking about
crazy.
that I've been like, I remembered this
They
thing.
forgot about that for a long time.
Did you remember that when
No.
when it happened? Because I've been thinking about it since the 3rd episode of the show when you hear it, and finally later in the manga it happens. I'm like, whoa.
No, I think we're on different pages here. But
I don't know
we'll
if
get
that's
there.
too ambiguous.
It was a little. I mean, there's multiple things, but it's like, whoa, did they forget? No.
I'll talk to you about it after. I don't want to ruin JJK for
sounds good.
everybody.
Sounds good.
Unless they got it spoiled by Bruno Mars.
So true.
Yeah, I was so thankful
That
I
volume
caught him.
still hasn't come out in English. Like that was.
It was months. It was
that's
months ago.
Far
now.
out, man.
Well, my best friend Bill, shout out to him. I don't think he listens to the podcast.
He should. What
He
the
had
heck, Bill?
something spoiled from him from Fortnite.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
Yeah, so JJK is hard to avoid spoilers for.
For sure. I mean, even scrolling social media today, of all days.
Well, I feel like yours is you look for spoilers. You seek
I
them
don't.
out.
I don't seek them out, but
You like to look at them.
I don't seek them out.
I avoid them
they
like the
find
plague.
me.
I don't think I really got anything spoiled for me in JJK.
That's incredible.
Oh, no, I did get something recent spoiled. Oh, maybe that was the thing you were talking about that I thought they forgot.
Yeah,
about.
that. Obviously, that.
That?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about a different thing.
I know. Obviously, I know.
Should we? I guess we gotta cut this part out.
No,
There's a lot of that. Ooh, that thing?
It's a good podcast.
Ooh. Yeah, it's candid. It's
All right,
candid.
finish it up.
I mean, I think I'm finished, man.
Reel it in.
Watch JJK. Try not to get it spoiled.
I agree.
It's
Watch
definitely
JJK.
one of my favorite
so good.
favorite action shows.
Yeah.
So, all right, your turn.
All right, from one shonen battle anime to another. This is a show at number 11, which started off, when we first were making these lists a while ago. Started off really high. This was one of the first manga that I bought. This was really, really big at the time when we were getting into anime. And number 11 for me is Demon Slayer. So, definitely something that's still incredibly popular. Really was originally one of the greatest for me. Definitely started as a top 5. Has certainly fallen down since, which I think I can explain a little bit. But still a show that I really enjoy. As far as liking this type of battle anime, we've just talked about Black Clover. You just talked about Jujutsu Kaisen, which I will eventually talk about.
Spoilers.
I think this definitely is a fun one. It got so popular, I think, for a reason. And it's very, very solid. I will start by saying that I have not kept up with the anime. The last arc that I watched in full was the Entertainment District. Didn't watch the full Swordsmith Village arc, and didn't even start to watch the Hashira training arc. I think this is because I finished the manga years ago. This manga has been over, I think, since the anime began in 2019. So, as great as it is to, and I do this with some things, watch what I've already read, especially this being a show that you don't watch. I find myself not watching as much on my own anime in general, that is. So this just is not one that I came back to. Like, this was one that
it's mid.
That's not mid. You haven't watched it. How could you ever say?
I've watched like 6 episodes.
That's nothing. There's one character at that point.
Yeah,
anyway.
And he didn't do anything for me.
Anyway.
He's the main character.
It doesn't matter. You just said yourself that your number 11 show could be great with the main character. That sucks. Anyway, and I think Tanjiro is better than Yuji.
Okay, I don't know. He's got definitely way better backstory than Yuji.
For sure. Yuji's backstory is ass. Anyway, not to pile on Yuji. I really lost my train of thought. That sucks.
You could say it was derailed.
It was derailed.
I can talk.
Much like the Mugen Train was derailed.
Oh, dude, spoilers!
You should watch Mugen Train.
If you want me to or if you want me to watch the show, you tell me a train's gonna get messed up, and you think I'm gonna like it?
I mean,
trains are awesome, man.
There's some train stuff before.
I actually was thinking about it. I'm like, man, I could give Demon Slayer another shot.
Such a good story.
Give it another shot.
Give it another shot. Yeah.
But I think someday, I don't think I would do it unless I got something out of it from you.
Yeah.
I would do it for an exchange.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to. Like, it's not really a choice.
Yeah, huh?
I guess.
I could say, no, I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
maybe
fair.
When I want you to watch more like One Piece.
Fair.
I could be like, hey, man, I'll watch Demon Slayer.
Fair.
I definitely think I could give it another shot and enjoy it. Yeah, it's just great. A couple episodes I liked, but I didn't really care to watch more.
Yeah, maybe
I know once we get more characters introduced, like Zenitsu, I'll probably like it more because he's my guy.
Yeah, Zenitsu's my favorite as well.
But it's just I never had the motivation to get there.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, yeah, as far as a Shonen Battle anime goes, protagonist Tanjiro with a tragic backstory, works hard, doesn't give up, all the same cliches that we see over and over again, but they sell books and anime, and so they keep making them, and I keep liking them. So, but I mean, as far as a main character goes, I think Tanjiro's one of the better of the bland shonen protagonists. Super, super kind, which I think you see with a lot of heroes, but like...
Yeah, I feel like the modern day main characters are like that.
Yeah, he just has a really genuine warmth that I think is evident. I don't know. I really do like that about the character. I've said already in this episode that swords are cool, and Demon Slayers use a lot of swords, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I think it's a really enjoyable show. Like, the fights are pretty excellent. The anime studio UFO table, I think it's UFO table though. They did it again. Like, I'll talk later about a show that I really love that they did. And it's just, they do such an incredible job animating and bringing this to life. The season 1's got a lot of good stuff. Mugen Train, I think, is really when this just absolutely exploded into the stratosphere. And being a film, the artists are given more time. There's a lot more budget pumped into a movie because it's going to make more money. Mm-hmm. And it was just incredibly visually pleasing. Really, really awesome. I mean, the movie itself was pretty hard-hitting, pretty emotional. One of the best points of the anime up until this point. And then the entertainment district arc for a weekly released anime. Like, I don't know that I've seen anything like it. I think they do an excellent job kind of blending a little bit of CGI in that's less noticeable than in almost every other show that does so. And it just, wow, does it come off incredible. the next arc is going to be broken up into 3 films, which I think, money-wise, from their perspective, was definitely a smart move. But also just for the quality that we're going to get, I mean, it's going to be insane. I definitely will be going to see the films. Yeah, I'm super, super excited. And even, like, with my break from the anime, I will say that, like, the last 2 arcs were not my favorite. The last arc in particular is pretty slow. And the one before is good, but, like, I don't really find the villains all that compelling. Demon Slayer does a good job explaining the villains, giving them backstory, making you care, not necessarily care, but understand. If you can understand where the villain is coming from, it just takes.
That's what I was saying earlier, and you were giving me looks.
What? That's not what I'm saying at all. We'll talk about that after.
Okay.
I'm talking about the complexity of that specific character. But yeah, if there's a villain that you can understand, like, it just takes it to a whole nother level. So I don't think that the Swordsmith Village arc really had that. You know, I'm okay skipping it, but I will not be skipping this next arc and then the final arc that will come after it. I really do think this next arc, these next 3 films, will be the peak of the show. It's like the manga is so good for this next arc. It's drawn really well. The story's excellent. It's just all out war. I cannot wait to see how they bring it to life. They're gonna do such an amazing job. It's I mean, for you, since you obviously don't know, it'll take place in the Infinity Castle, which is just ever shifting and moving, and I cannot wait to see that brought to life. I think it's gonna be incredible. As far as an ending goes for this whole show, I'm certainly excited to get there. It's probably one of the better ones, I would say, for manga or anime that I finished. Obviously, that's looking ahead past the anime itself. But yeah, I just as far as these popular battle anime, this really does it for me in a lot of ways. I'm super excited to get back into it with these next couple movies, and I cannot wait to see what Ufotable can do with this story. It's going to be awesome. I will say, just in closing, why I went ahead and read the manga. In season 2, or I guess they go by arcs. I won't call it season 2. In the Entertainment District arc, there's a moment where it looks like a character might die, like a favorite character.
That's how they get you.
And the episode ended. I was left in shock. I needed to know. Over the next 2 days, I finished the rest of the manga. I started reading it, didn't stop. So like, it really did hook me in and keep me going. I really loved it. I've talked a lot about dropping the anime, but I do really love the story. So that's that on Demon Slayer. Maybe it will be something that we watch together down the line. So
maybe
we
someday.
can hope for that. All right. Do you know which of these that you would like to deep dive?
Yeah, I choose Rent a Girlfriend.
You can do that.
No, I'm not. We already talked about it for more than we needed to.
That's fair.
So I don't know. I can't do Rent a Girlfriend. I don't want to do Black Clover just because I don't want to get shit or stuff spoiled.
Jeez, Ange. I don't want to have to mark the podcast explicit.
You already said a bad word.
That was barely a bad word. Keep going.
Mine, I barely said it. Initial D, I would like to do, but I feel like I'm just going to be talking about more races.
Yeah.
Like with the car, not like different groups of people.
I understand what you mean.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm looking at your screen.
And
I guess your screen can be my screen.
Anohana, I don't really want to talk about for like 20 minutes to half hour because I'll probably lose composure.
Okay. It's okay to lose composure.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Okay.
So that leaves me JJK.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, there's 2 seasons and a movie.
Okay.
That I can talk about.
Yeah.
And I can really kind of dive deeper into some of the characters, why I like some of them, and just, yeah. So I think that's my choice.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to do Horimiya, the romance anime I talked about. I kind of rambled on it. I rambled a lot today, but I think I rambled on it a little bit, though I would like to sharpen my points and add some more depth. So that'll be next week. Any final thoughts?
No, I think that's about it. Well, I feel like we're getting close to the time now to do our fall anime things to look forward to.
Yeah,
Episode.
yeah.
So that might be out next week.
That's possible, yeah. I mean, also, we're going to watch a lot of the final episodes of this season.
Are we going to
too.
do like, we could do like a
We
recap.
could do a half and half, but
Yeah, we could do that.
we'll see. We'll play around with it.
All right. Well, see you next week, guys.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.